Purpose. I tell people all the time that you were created on purpose for a purpose. You know, it might have surprised your parents that you showed up here, but you were no surprise to God. He already had your life in his heart. So take some time today, spend some time with your Father. Make sure you seek him for what your purpose is. And I promise you that the thing you're looking for in the universe is already inside of you. The gift of life and purpose, God has already put inside of you. And let me tell you, the best days that you live in your life will be those days where, number one, you're in God's will. Number two, living your purpose that he put you here for. All right, you guys, you are back live on the air with Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Show with the continuance of our People You Need to Know series. And I'm so excited to introduce, well, maybe reintroduce to a lot of you, a member here of our Instinct Radio family, Miss Candy Martin. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
It's so good to have you here.
Yes.
You're looking good.
Oh, I tried. I had to do a little bit more. I was coming with you. I was like, Lord Jesus,
Oh,
make sure I
come
look
on.
right. Hey, you got to be right when you come on here. Like, ooh.
Well, I'd like to mention how I met you. I met you through Instinct Radio.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, this is our second official face-to-face meeting.
You're right.
I was able to come to your show, the last show you did, and just you fell in love with your energy. And I'm telling you, you're like a bright light, bing, 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 on the screen. And look at you smile. See, you smile more because you got a beautiful smile. So tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Basically, government name, of course, is Kimberly Martin. My friends started calling me Candy because I always got candy around. So that's how I got the candy part. And I actually fell into this. I started my business probably back in 2009. And at that time, I was just making gift baskets, you know, and I write poetry. So I was writing poems and actually putting people's pictures in the background and doing all kind of stuff. And then somebody said, oh, can you make me this? Because I'm always on the computer playing around. So I started making brochures, making business cards, making all kind of obituaries, all kind of stuff.
Wow.
And so when I was doing the obituaries for this company, they ended up taking on a partner. And when they took on that partner, they wanted to fade me out because the partner was like, I can do all that myself. And so I was like, okay, then that don't mean I'm not supposed to be doing this anymore. And so the lady that the original owner, she was like, I'm a mortician. That's what I do. All that other stuff y'all talking about, I leave that to Candy. So when she said that, I changed the whole name of my company. So like, that's what we're going to call it, because it was basically everybody would come to me and just ask me for a little stuff. How you do this? I don't know. I figure it out. So I go on the internet. I am the Google Queen. I go and find everything. And so all of that ended up turning into me creating shows. I started creating comedy shows and music shows and stuff like that. And then I was asked to be a manager. So that's why when you were saying what people always asking you, they asked me to be a manager. I'm like, what? I don't know how to do that. And so that's how I fell into this. About 2 years ago, I became a manager, and I went from having one person to I have like maybe 14 now. And of those 14 people, we have 3 of them besides myself here at Instinct have their own show. We have movies coming out. I actually got a clip that I sent to Net of a movie that we got coming out. So I'm acting now.
Wow.
So actually helping, because I'm not really acting. They are, they wrote it. They needed somebody to chip in. So, they just threw me in there. So, hey, whatever they asked me to do, I do it. And it's just a blessing to be able to help other people, accomplish what they want to accomplish.
Yes.
So, it's cool. So, that's basically how I got here.
Well, what's interesting is we were talking during the break about people asking you to do things and that developing into multiple streams of income, which is the story you just told.
Exactly.
About how you've done all the different things you've done. And I think a lot of us don't even think about the things that we are giving away. Yes, you can give them away, but God is giving you certain gifts to be able to create income for your family. Right. So let's talk about the management thing, because, I told you I was a manager for about 3 or 4 months. And that
That
was
was
it.
funny. That was funny.
And I had to
That's
tell you,
funny.
and the only reason, and people had asked me over and over to be their manager. And this young man, the reason I took him on is because he was so amazing. I imagine him being on a Grammy stage and me having passed up on the opportunity to work with him.
Right.
But
Sometimes it's just
what
not
goes
gonna
along
work.
with that was
It's
not for me.
nah, it is a lot because it's like having kids all over
Oh,
again.
yes.
And but it's cool for me because I'm used to that. I had 3 kids of my own, which all of them are grown now, which is one of the reasons why I focus more on my business now because of the fact that my kids are grown, so I don't have to worry about who gonna keep them if I need to go somewhere. I can just go, and the thing with the people, the personalities and stuff, you just got to get used to that person.
Yes.
It's very with the people that's under me. I made sure I went out, I researched them, I seen what they were about, and then I have a sit down meeting with them, so that way I can see if their energy is something that I want to deal
Yes,
with. Because
yes.
sometimes when you actually sit down with a person and talk to them, you can actually see I ain't gonna be able to do that, dog. So and it's sad to say that, but it helps you out in the long run because later on you don't have that. We just gonna have to not do this anymore. So the
Yes.
people that I'm dealing with now, I love them. They're like my little sisters and my little brothers and stuff like that. And it's just one big family. It's like we help each other. And that's the only way you're gonna get to the next level is by helping somebody else.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm doing. It's hard sometimes. The phone calls in the middle of the night about something that ain't got nothing to do with me. But hey, I'm up. I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. It's fun. It's fun for me,
Yeah.
so that's it.
Well, I think it goes back to knowing what your lane is.
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't my lane. You know what I'm saying? Because one of the first conversations I had with people that I work with across the board in any manner is about their mindset.
Right.
And I could have these mindset coaching sessions with him that he would get it.
Oh, yeah.
And then
They
2
go do
days
something
later,
else.
he's somewhere crying, oh my God, I'm never going to. And I was like, well, didn't we just
Exactly. I can't do this. It ain't working. So that's why they call me momager, because that's when I go into mama mode. You know how your mama start fussing at you and you be like, because my kids say it all the time. It's like, mama, you go crying to mama. Mama like, what you crying for? Yes, what you crying for? You see how far you done got? God got you here. You need to keep going. So it's hard sometimes really dealing with the personalities, but it's cool. It's fun for me.
Well, I'm glad you found your lane. And I'm glad we have people like you to do what you do so the rest of us don't have to.
Hey,
because
somebody got to.
I wanted to fight him on multiple occasions. So that should tell you.
Totally.
That should tell you. And I will have to say, like I mentioned during the break, I talked with another manager because she'd managed, some pretty big people that I knew here that I admired, I was fans of. And then she was telling me how they be cussing her and everything. I was like, oh. And then the next day, I'm so
sorry. Exactly.
I was like,
Yes. It's sometimes it is that back and forth, and you just gotta, with me, I always make them understand that I'm talking to you and I'm trying to help you. And it's, with me, it wasn't nothing that I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a comedian. I didn't want to be an actress. I didn't want to do any of that. And what I did want to do, I just kept putting my foot forward and doing it. And so basically the stuff that I did, because I'm actually in IT, so the stuff that I did in IT to accomplish the goal that I had, is what I'm taking and bringing to them. Because if I can do it, you can do it. Regardless of what it is you're trying to do, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to get there eventually.
So what do you love about management?
What I love is actually seeing them accomplish a goal. Because one of the things that we do is we sit down, and every year they put down what their 10 goals is for the year. And what I tell them, if we can accomplish half of this list, we've done a great job. Because a lot of times it's some of the stuff you be like, child, you ain't finna do that this year. It might be 2 years from now. But they have to put it out there. Yes. And then the thing that's happening that if they keep doing it the way that we're talking to each other, because it's not like I'm telling them what to do, is that we're working a path for them. And so if they work the path the way we set it up, they're accomplishing it like this. But when they start going in their own direction and doing their own thing and making those executive decisions, you know, then, you know, you get what you get. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is, like I said, that I love seeing them accomplish something that they never thought that they could accomplish. So that's part of what, you know, my whole, every business that I have ever had is always the same thing, making your impossible dream possible.
Yeah. And see, that's what I get from coaching.
Yes.
That's what I get from coaching. And I guess it's like a step back in terms of you're not as hands-on with a coach as you're, because with a manager, you got to hold their hand.
Sometimes you got to hold them back. Like, hold on, wait a minute, we almost there. You know, but I get it. But, you know, the thing is, even with that, if it's, you know, you found it, you saw it, and, you know, that's one of the things that, you know, because when I came to Instinct, I came here with the artist, and, you know, that's why I started following Instinct and started looking at the different shows, and everybody that has a show on Instinct, I done looked at your show at least one time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, but I did that because I wanted to learn, because one of my clients that actually has a show here now, that was what they went on Facebook and like, what do I do next? And they were just trying to figure out what they wanted to do. And they was like, I want a radio show. So as soon as they said that, Instinct. So I came straight here because I had been watching. But the thing that I've always liked about you was that you're always being helpful to everybody, regardless of what they're doing. You always are nice. You give instructions. You give people hope, you know. And so that's the reason why I reached out to you, just to talk, you know. And I really didn't expect all of this. You just don't know. Yesterday when I got the email, I was like, yes. And then after I did it, I said, woo, how you gonna pull that off? So, but we gonna do it. But yeah, I like people like that. I like seeing people living in their dream, you know, doing what God actually put them on this earth to do. Yeah. And, you know, every job that I have, including being big sister to my brother and everything, and I've been managing people all my life, you know, and my job at work, that's part of my title. I'm a manager. You know what I'm saying? So I've always done it. So it's just natural for me. Yes. It's just really natural for me. So a lot of times when God keep putting that same thing in front of you, you just need to go ahead and do it. That's
absolutely right. You know, I mentioned to the boss guys 2 weeks ago now that, you know, there's a reason you see the things you see, the things that continue to come into your life, repetitively come into your life, because it's tied to your purpose. It's tied to why you're here. Exactly. There's a reason it keeps showing up. So you know you're supposed to participate in that. Yeah. So you came here to Instinct Radio with your artist, and then,
oh my God,
you got a show. Yes. Talk to us about your show.
Oh my God, that was actually Net's fault. But basically, Live Talk, they both of my hosts one was stuck in traffic, the other one, dad got sick. It was just a big mess that day, and you know, everybody knows that I'm always early, so of course I'm sitting in the corner getting the text messages and sitting over there like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? And so then I just said, Net, we're gonna run with it. So I just hopped in the chair and figured it out. And ever since that day, you know, she's been like, you need to have your own show. You need to have your own show. And so me and Net always talking, you know, like I said, she has become my soundboard, and she was showing me some pictures of people. And I was like, you know what? We ought to do a show about that. So then I was trying to figure out which one of my shows to put it on. And then it didn't fit. It was like, it can't go over there. It can't go over here. You know what? I'm going to do it. So then I had it. Once I did it, it was like, oh, this is fun. and what people don't know is I am scared to death when I get up there. When I first stand up, I am scared. I'm actually shaking, and they don't even.
Really?
Because even you was like, you couldn't guess it. And I'm like, no. I'm sitting up there, I'm scared. I don't know what. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. And it's like, I like the fact it's on Sunday, because then I might not cuss. So, but it was Net's fault. But what I wanted to start showing on my show is all different things that's just going on with me. So the first show was about comedy wise, and it was about behind the laughter, because of the fact that when you are married to a comedian or a significant other of a comedian or actor or anybody, and I'm on the other side, I'm listening to them, and when they're on stage, they just feel like they're on stage, they're being this person. They not thinking about, how their wives or girlfriends or whatever are thinking, and especially with the comedians because they're making jokes and stuff, and a lot of
That can be
times
very
you think the jokes
personal.
is right.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to see how they felt about it, and so I reached out to Miss Tony, which is actually Doodoo Brown's wife, and she did everything for me. It's like she found all the guests from, like, I love her. But they came on the show and they really showed us the other side of it, that it's not really, it's just a joke. It's not really about them. It might be a little bit about them, but not all of it. And then, the last show was about, women's health, because we have a lot of health problems in our community, and people know about them, but they really don't know everything.
I learned a lot on that show.
Oh yeah,
I learned a lot.
And so we are gonna do the men's one. We're gonna do it in December, but in November, we're actually gonna talk about Thanksgiving vegan style. So we actually have a restaurant that's going to come in and bring dishes that are considered traditional Thanksgiving dishes, but of course they're made vegan style.
Are you going to announce the name yet?
Oh, not yet. Okay. We're not going to name it yet. And then we're also going to have a young man to come in and talk about his his experience as being a vegan for a week. So, like I said, everything I wanted to be completely different. I don't want it to be the exact same thing, but I want to be informative, funny, and just have a good time.
Well, as you're talking, I was thinking about, you remember the guy, right after the Shirley Caesar thing, you remember the guy that did the vegan version of that? Mm-hmm. He would be great to have. I met him at one of these events. He would be great to have on that show.
Yeah, we need to find him.
Yes.
But yeah, I wanted to do that because, I tried to be vegan. Okay, so we had, I know one of my coworkers is probably laughing right now. We tried to do the Daniel's fast. You see what I said, right?
Yeah.
We tried to do the Daniel's fast we were supposed to be doing it for 30 days. I think I made it a week. Because by then I was begging for some chicken. Like, I need some chicken. I don't know how Daniel did it. But, so that was one of the things. But I know it's healthy versions of stuff that we can eat. And so that's the informative part. What is it out there that's vegan? You might not necessarily want to completely be vegan, but it might be some dishes that you can add in.
Awesome one. I'm telling you, if you've ever been to Silly's Raw, that kale wrap will take you to heaven and back. She got over there. I just had to say that. Shout out to Silly.
Okay.
So, my God, yes.
Exactly. So
and I have to say this because we were at Professor Griffith invited us to a women's conference.
Okay.
Miss Frances Cresswell, so right before she died, was speaking, and this friend of mine who said she don't eat nothing that has meat in it. She's like, I'm a meat eater. I'm not eating that kale wrap. I don't want that. Where the meat at? I mean, she was in the line with all these, because most of them are vegans anyway. Okay. And she was loud. She's like, where the meat at? I was like, oh my God. I was like, just try it. And she was like, and she took one bite and she was like,
yeah, that's good. Exactly. I actually like kale. I found a way to cook it. You know what I'm saying? But I actually like kale. So it's, like I said, it's a lot of things. Like I was saying on my last show, with me and the health issues that I do have, I'm always trying to find something that I can eat, and that doesn't make me sick when I'm eating it. So, it's some vegan things, but, I still have to keep that protein coming. So, but I just have to find what vegetables have the protein in it. So it's always learning.
Oh yeah. And because at our house, well, my son fuss because we don't eat meat maybe 2 or 3 times a week. We don't eat meat every day.
Wow.
But that's a whole other story. When we fasted a couple years ago. And
chicken.
That was when we gave up the wheat and the dairy, and we felt so much. We stopped having sinus headaches when we gave up the wheat and dairy.
Right.
And a lot of people don't recognize that there are a lot of mucus causing foods.
That's true.
That you think is it's the seasonal allergies,
exactly.
But no,
it's what you're eating.
It's what you're eating.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, I was having sinus headaches every single day. Mm-hmm. And after that fast, I was like, it's something that we gave up.
Exactly.
And now if we go to a restaurant and they bring out the roll, if we eat a roll within minutes, we go. You can feel it coming on you.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's one thing I try not to eat too much of bread. It's like if I'm eating bread, I probably won't eat I won't eat nothing else. But, we started going to the vegan restaurants because with my job, they always try and take you out and take you places. They took us to this vegan restaurant one time and we all was looking at each other like, okay. But it was some things that were actually good.
Let me tell you, my favorite vegan restaurant is Healthful Essence.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's Caribbean vegan food.
Okay, now I might need to try
Oh
that.
my God, it's
That
good.
sounds different.
Oh, it's so good. And my son went, and his favorite dessert is apple pie. And he told me he had the best apple pie he ever had.
Oh, wow.
At the vegan restaurant.
Okay.
So that should tell you something right
Well,
there. You
they
know
can
how
eat
Gabriel like
apples.
eating it. And every time I go, he
can eat
expects me to go and bring him back this lentil soup they have.
my
That's
God.
amazing. So anyway, so yes, I loved your show. Like I said, I
Oh my
learned
God,
so
thank you
much.
so much.
I learned so much from that show because I was sitting there, the lady was talking about lupus, and I was like, for real?
Yeah.
And all that happened, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
too, and that, yes.
Yeah, Carmen actually was our HR manager. So everybody that was on the show, I've dealt with Connie. Connie is my bestie. But Connie, she used to work with me also. But Carmen, the one that had lupus, she
This
was
right
actually
here,
our
oh my
HR
God, you have
manager.
went through
And
a
when I broke my
lot,
ankle,
and you
when I
came
first started
through it.
working there,
So thank God for that.
people
You
don't know
know,
this, but when you have insurance, the insurance have a set amount of time that you are supposed to be out when you have certain illnesses. And when I broke my ankle, they was trying to bring me back to work because of the fact that I was listed as a computer operator. And so they felt like if you sitting at the computer every day, you can go back to work. But I also did tape library duties, which meant I had to do a lot of walking. And so when I told her, because I'm like, my foot is still hurting. And so she said, let me go look at some stuff. And the next thing you know, I had some more weeks off, you know what I'm saying, because of the insurance, because she went in and fixed and added that to my job description. And people don't know that, it's you need people like her, you know what I mean? And that's why I've always followed behind her. But when she got pregnant, that's when everything started happening. And I was just like, wow. And the same thing with Connie. I went through a lot of the, going to the hospital and stuff like that with her. And so it's like you sit up there and it's like, I didn't know they did that. I didn't know they did that.
Your guests were very transparent, and the content they shared was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you're back live in the air, Regina Sunshine, here on the continuation of my People You Need to Know series. And we have been joined by Miss Cassandra Ingraham. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
I've been wanting to interview you for a while, and I'm so excited that I finally have this opportunity. I met you at your place of business, Urban Grind. And anybody in this city, you hear about open mics and places to go to do shows, Urban Grind. When I moved here, it was like one of the top names that I heard. And then I walk in, I found out that it's owned by a Black female. And I'm like, whoa, yes. It was even more special then. And so your spot is one of my favorite have a quick meeting spots. I'm always in there trying to get a smoothie and get in the corner and talk to some folks. So welcome.
Well, great.
to
Thank
the
you. And
show.
thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful that you've reached out to me and invited me to come on your show to be a part of this. So thank you so much.
Yes. Well, tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Oh my goodness, what do I do? It really depends on the time of the day.
Yes.
Because as a business owner, you do all things.
Yes.
You wear so many different hats. And then I also work full time. I don't know if I had mentioned that to you as well. So it really depends on the time of the day of what I do. But I actually started Urban Grind. We've been there for about 10 years now, actually, and we're going to celebrate a 10-year anniversary coming up sometime soon. I haven't planned that yet, but yeah, that's going to be big, so I'm really excited about that. But I've always been entrepreneurial, and I've always had a desire and a passion to do something entrepreneurial. And then when I even think about my past, there have been little things that I've done along the way that have kind of gotten me to this point. It's always been a passion, and so I felt like it was a purpose of something that I was destined to do at some time or point or another, to at least try, right? And so so what do? I'm a marketer, and I'm an entrepreneur. So from a career and professional perspective, but as women, we do a lot of things.
Everything, right? Everything. Well, the thing I love about your space is it's like going home. You walk in the Urban Grind, you get on the couch, right?
Right.
And you really feel like you can relax and be yourself. And that's one of the reasons I invite people into that space, because I feel like their walls come down.
Yeah.
when they walk in the urban grind.
Yeah.
And so was that intentional?
It was. It was very intentional, actually. I really wanted to create a gathering, a neighborhood gathering place, if it will, where people in the community can come together. You meet your neighbors, you can interact. You never leave, not probably have not met someone that
Yes.
you've talked to someone. Whether it's you're having conversations about the local politics that's going on, or you're talking about an album or a book that you're trying to write. Whether you're meeting up and having meetings, or you're on a date, or you're studying. I really wanted it to be that kind of a local neighborhood gathering place where you use the space, how you see fit for your own. And so that was really the inspiration. I lived in New York for a couple of years, and that was my neighborhood coffee shop.
Okay.
When I lived in Manhattan, right? And it was the place that after a long day of work, I can go and have a coffee and I read the New York Times and watch the world go by. Or, and I look up that an artist would show up with a guitar and play. And so, that's what I wanted to create. And it's interesting because those, depending on your age bracket, those of us that remember the show Friends,
yes,
that was also an inspiration
because
because
I see it now.
because that was, and people love that coffee shop, right, on Friends, and they watched Friends because that was really the place that people came, they came together, right? It was like after a long day and everything you had going on, whatever your grind is, that was their retreat from their grind, where they could come together and be themselves and talk about things. And so a lot of people actually tell me that it is very reminiscent, but that was one of the inspirations, and hence the name, to be honest with you. And a lot of people don't know this, but the name actually means, well, in its most obvious sense, urban grind means coffee shop in the city, right? But it also is your retreat from your grind. When you live in a, the urban is a lifestyle. It's not a, unfortunately, some people think urban means black. And it doesn't. Urban is a lifestyle, right? And so urban grind is your retreat from whatever your grind is, right? Similar to the coffee shop I talked about on Friends. So if your grind is you're an artist and you're trying to get on, or you're writing a book, or you're a student and you're studying, and it's a retreat for you to come and kind of get away from that.
Wow, I see it now. Because I was a fan of Friends, and I never made it. But when you say it is so that space, and I love it. I mean, I've gone in there and I've seen people who come for hours.
Right.
They'll get on the couch, and maybe they're reading or they're working on something.
Oh, I've woken people up from I'm like, sir. It's interesting because we had an attorney who used to work for the juvenile center here in Atlanta, and he used to come and on his lunch break. And it was this place, again, to get away, his retreat from his grind. And he would read a book every day. He would come and he just wanted a quiet space to get away and to read. And there have been a couple of times when he's fallen asleep on that sofa, and I'm like, you have to get back to work. Or I'm going to start charging you rent. One of the two.
Well, one of the things I love about Urban Grind is your commitment to supporting the arts. And I remember one of my first times there, I think you'd had a collection by Curtis Graves.
Yes.
And he had done like a tribute to women, and there was artwork all over the place. And I think we were there because George and me was doing an event there for Tamika Fest, and he was coming to change out the artwork. And I was like, wow, it never occurred to me before that moment that this was local artwork hanging on the walls in Urban Grind. So why has it been important to you? Because I know that has to be intentional. That has to be on purpose. Why has it been important to you to be such a big supporter of the arts?
Well, it goes back to really what I talked about as far as being the mission of being that neighborhood gathering place and that local community and local feel. And a part of that, I wanted it also to be a place where people can come and express themselves in any type of artistic art form, however that might be, right? And again, it's about bringing all of those things together. And so even increasingly, well, we're starting to see more galleries and smaller galleries opening, and people have a platform to showcase their work. But if you're not a big artist, it's a little bit challenging sometimes getting into galleries, right? Or you don't have the funding to maybe do some of the things that are required of you to get into those spaces. And I've had people that have never shown. They say, I've worked on stuff for years, and people have said I like to, I should show, but I never have. But I would love to put it on the walls. But I'm terrified, and so it just creates that comfortability to say, you know what, this is your passion. These are your walls. Show your artwork. And so we rotate our art every month with local artists, and they can just show, which we've had people do, and you can sell your artwork. And we can do that as well. And like I said, I had a couple of people, even a couple of Georgia Tech students that just like to draw. or do different things. They do digital work, and they displayed some of their pieces. So so that was really, it was by design. And so you're right, we do the artwork, we have comedy night, and we have a music night, we have a poetry night, and pretty much we've done whatever the community has come and said, hey, there's a need for this and we will support it. Then we've said, well, okay, we'll try it. We'll give it a try and see if it'll work for us and for them as well.
Well, like I said, I moved here in 2012, and because I am such a big spoken word fan, groupie, Tamika said I was a groupie the other day on the phone, and I guess I said I admit I am. And my question was, where do you go in Atlanta to hear spoken word? And I was given 3 names, and yours was in the list. And I went, and I was like, it's the space for that to be able, because we talk about being in a space where you can be transparent and be real and be safe. And spoken word is that. First of all, you want to have artists feel like they can truly be transparent, about what's going on with them and with their art. And you come into a space like Urban Grind, and it's like it's compounded,
right?
So I can really let loose here and tell everybody what's going on with me.
And it's interesting you say that, because that really has been, poetry has been our longest standing event that we've had, and it's been very successful over the years. And I'm grateful and blessed that we've had so many artists. Like you said, I mean, a lot of the artists that I've heard you name before have been there, have performed or had shows and events. And so, and I'm not an artist, so I'm grateful to have been in that space where they were sharing and I could be a part and witness that. But, you're absolutely right. We want to create that comfortability, right? And so to that point, we've had artists that are been doing this a very long time and professional, Georgia Me, right? But then we've also had artists that write and they've never performed poetry. And it's one of the things that I've loved is, and now I can confidently say it because I typically don't, we always kind of hold back and don't really toot our own horns or whatever. And I'm not really tooting my own horn. It's just the nature of the environment that not only I created, I put the infrastructure in place, but everyone in the community really honed, right? We've had a lot of new artists, like I said, poets, have never done anything before in front of anyone. They're terrified. I just come to watch. And and this is the part that I say I can confidently say, before they leave the end of the night, they'll do a piece, right? They'll come in there like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just here to watch. I want to observe. And that's that fear, right? And I get it. But before the end of the night, because to your point, everyone's so welcoming, encouraging. When someone says, oh, they're a poet, they've never done a piece, people are cheering and you've been there. Oh, yes, that's awesome. What do you have to share? Get up. And, and they get up, and if they stumble, they're like, start over. And that's not typical, right? Typically, if you're on and this managing artist, you mess up, you're like, oh man, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? Like, pull the cord, it's time to go home. They're going to be on social media tomorrow saying that artist is whack. Don't even, you know what I mean? But it's not that kind of environment. People are like, start over. And they encourage them. And it's just a wonderful, supportive environment. And then they've come back up again, because it feels great. And that's what we need to do. We need to support and encourage each other, not tear each other down. Right. So I'm really grateful to be a part of that. And it's interesting. I've even had so many people come up to me. And this is the part I didn't expect. I really wanted to create, like I said, this environment. Part of it was selfish because it's the kind of environment I like. Coffee shop I like to hang in. So I created a place that I like to hang out in. And originally I thought this was for me. But more than not, I'm realizing it's really for the community.
It's your ministry.
You know what I mean? It really is. And that is one of the things that's kept me going. Because to be honest, let's be clear, I'm not a Starbucks or a Caribou. I am not making that kind of money, which is why I work full time. And so if you're listening, please come to Urban Grind. We're open 7 days a week, and I need your support. And that's real, because it's a grind. It's real out there. And so I was just thinking, I was like, oh God, I put so much work into it. I'm, really grinding. I have good intentions. Like, why isn't this working for me? Why? I thought I had this empire by now and all of these things. And what I realized is I said, maybe this wasn't for me. I was given this purpose and this gift, and I'm grateful. I was blessed to be able to carry it through, right? And I'm not in a poorhouse, so I'm grateful, right? But maybe it was to bless so many other people. And long story to go back to say, to what we're talking about with poetry, and even some of our other events, I've had so many people come up to me and say how it's changed their life. And that I didn't expect.
Yes.
Because I thought it's a coffee shop. I'm just trying to create some, I'm trying to create some culture. I'm trying to create a community. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it was going to touch and impact people the way they've done. And I know I'm going on, but just really quickly to really emphasize that is, I've had one. Matter of fact, just last week, I had a lady come back and say she lives out in the suburbs now. Whenever she comes to the city, she always comes back to Urban Grind. She said she met a gentleman at Urban Grind. They came for poetry night. They ended up sitting on the patio and talking all night. This is 5 years ago. They're married. They have children. They live in the suburbs. And every chance she says she get to come back to Urban Grind, she does. And how they love the shop.
Nice. Oh,
You know,
chills. I love
yeah.
that.
And then on a sadder note, I've also had someone that told me they were suicidal. And they came to a poetry night with intentions of killing themselves after. And the poetry that they did and the reception, was such that people picked up on what was happening in their life. And people were so supportive that they embraced that person and talked to them and had conversations with them. And they felt moved enough to come and tell me later, like, that night and that experience I had in your place saved my life. And I cried. Because I never anticipated a coffee shop would do that.
It's your ministry. And
Well,
so often, I think I mentioned this earlier about Miss Lorraine, so often you think you're doing a thing for one particular reason and it ends up being a whole other reason.
yeah.
And I can tell you about an experience I had there. I was there having a meeting with a potential coaching client. We were sitting on the couch. We didn't talk business one time. She came in there, and because she felt so safe and comfortable, she began to share about how she was abused when she was a child.
Wow.
She sat there and laid in my arms on your couch and cried.
Wow.
And it was because of the space. She felt safe, to have that conversation with me in your shop. Now, I don't think that could have happened in many other restaurants or spaces.
Right.
But there's something about the space you've created that people feel like they're home, like they're safe, like no one can harm me here, so I can be or say what I need to say.
Right.
So I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh,
it
thank
was
you.
a special day.
Thank you.
I just put my stuff on in my briefcase. I thought we didn't talk about nothing business
Right.
related today.
Yeah.
And so it was a special moment.
Wow.
And I do want to mention, we reached out to Urban Grind when we did the Young Boss Awards. You remember, oh my goodness, what's his name? Is it Chris? I think his name is Chris, the artist that we had at the Capitol for the Young Boss. Yeah, he remember the one to send me his picture for the flyer. But then he didn't want to do an interview, and he got and we had to kind of say, okay, all right, we got to interview some other kids now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we had reached out to you guys about displaying his art, and you were so receptive, and I thank you because he had never had the chance to show his art anywhere, and you guys and then Renata Brown took him to the African American art group or whatever, and he was able to show there. So you were a part of what began to really change his life in terms of his art. So I thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing
so
that.
much for that.
Yes.
So dreams for the future. When you think about, and not just Urban Grind, because you're a traveler too. I've been seeing some things. What are some of your dreams for the future?
Wow. Well, you know what? I really not to be honest with you. I work a lot. I do. And it was one of those things, and this is just being very transparent. I thought that the harder I go, that for this period of time, then maybe I'll get there and I can get off the ride, right, and enjoy it. It's like you feel like you're, and it got to a point where it's like I was this gerbil, those little hamsters, and you're on a wheel, and you just grinding, and you think you're getting somewhere, but you're really not. The wheels just keep spinning, right? And so that's really been a lot of the case for me. Is working really hard at Urban Grind and trying to grow it and trying to, keep it alive and that kind of thing. But then working full time too, because I need to provide for myself. Because everything I make, I put back into the business for the most part. Just to expand it and grow it and invest in it. And so I realized there's been 10 years now, and I need some time for me, and do the things that I'm passionate about outside of that. And so, which is why you've been seeing things with me traveling more. And I'm really trying to be diligent about trying to find a balance and now, regaining myself again. I can't even tell you the last time I stopped to read a book, to be very honest with you, because if I'm not at my job, I'm trying to figure out things for the shop, right? So I think that's really important. A balance is really important. You look up, the years have passed by and you're wondering where they've gone. Unfortunately, people are dying younger and different things are happening, and so you start thinking about those things and what's really important. So so that's one of the things I'm thinking about. but I need everybody's support to come to Urban Grind so that I can continue to hire some folks to help me do what I'm doing so that I can do that, you know. And I joke and laugh about it, but it's really true.
It's real.
You know, it's really true. When you're a small business owner, you wear a lot of hats, you know, and unfortunately, I'm not a Caribou and I'm not a Starbucks, where they have a team of people and they have an infrastructure, and guess what, in a chain. So if something happens in one of their facilities and equipment breaks down and it costs a lot more than what you were anticipating budgeting for, they spread that money out. You know, if they need a manager to come into a store and help out in Romy Garage, they do that. And then so that, and like they say, money begets money, right? And so, and resources beget resources. And so that's what allows their infrastructure to continue to turn and do well. And, you know, when you're independent, and I'm a sole independent, you know, I'm doing it on my own. I always tell my employees, there's one kitty of money. You know what I mean? And everything comes out of that. Whether we fixing stuff, we hiring people, we're promoting, we're, you know, doing events or whatever the case might be. That's it. You know, so if you're giving stuff away or if you're not part of the solution, I always say when I hire people, I'm looking for people that want to be a part of this revolution. That's what it is, you know, and if you don't want to, that's fine. Find somewhere else to work, you know, because I can't afford for you not to be here and be on board.
You've got great people, though.
We do, you know, I do. And I have to say I've been very fortunate, and me being real and transparent in that and what the expectations are has helped. I've had, you know, good people that have been behind that vision and mission of what we want to do. But I tell you, I've had some people too that have stolen from me, that give away stuff, that took it for granted. You know, I've had, you know, it's interesting. I've had employees come in and do stuff that they wouldn't do anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? And just taking it for granted, you know, and the experience for granted. Because I'm not like, you know, hey, you know what I mean? I'm sharing, I'm talking to you about what we're trying to do and we're a team, and they take that for granted. Yeah. So it's been a struggle too.
Well, you know, and I see exactly what you mean, because when you walk through the door, it's not obvious that you're the owner. If that makes sense. You really, you know, blend in, work with your staff, you know, like you're one of the staff members. And the only reason I found out you were the owner, I was there for a meeting, and there was a young lady sitting at the table beside us, and she wanted to know what we were talking about. And so she started asking us questions. I said, well, what are you here for? She said, well, I'm here to meet with the owner. She was doing PR for you or something. And when you walked in, she said, there she is. I said, oh, I had no idea I was the owner. And so I was, you know, again, like I said, I was excited to see you were a Black female. But again, you know, I could see your heart in the fact that I had interacted with you before and had no clue who you were.
Right.
And that you worked along with your staff the way that you did. And it was a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And like I said, it works for me sometimes. Sometimes, unfortunately, not so much.
Well, you know, as we begin to wrap up, I do want to, for both of you being female entrepreneurs, you know, let's talk about what is it like being a Black female entrepreneur in this day and time. It's tough. Yes, it is. I'm gonna be very honest. It's tough. I think being an entrepreneur, period, is probably tough. Right? You know, it's tough. I think, and just to be honest, it's interesting. Like, I love Atlanta. And Atlanta, I would say, is different than being in Georgia, holistically, right? And what I mean by that is Atlanta's a little bit more diverse. It's a little bit more contemporary. You know, you have people that have moved here from so many different places. So it's a little bit different from a mindset perspective of people you interact with, right? However, we're still in the South. And I'm from Michigan originally. And quite honestly, I never really directly felt racism until I became a business owner here. And the things I never thought, a couple of examples. I never translated the word urban to mean Black. To me, it's a lifestyle. When I first opened, I remember, and I would go to every open mic, every event, pass out flyers, let people know what we were doing.
Back. It's
so
the Regina
come on
Sunshine
nights
show.
where they weren't where they were. And I remember being at an open mic once, and I gave people, and I don't discriminate because this is not, and let's be clear, Urban Grind is not a Black coffee shop.
It is not. I've seen
it's
people
about
every
lifestyle
type at your shop.
And I want everyone, it's inclusive, and I want everyone to feel welcome, everyone to come and support and be a part of it. It's a lifestyle. And if you believe believe and you support in that lifestyle, then you come. It's just like in New York. When I lived in New York, it was a urban coffee shop in New York, and you went there because you supported that lifestyle, and that was a part of who you were. And that's what I want Urban Grind to be. But again, going back to the young lady, handed her a flyer, she looked at it and saw Urban Grind, and she said, but I'm not black.
Okay.
I said, well, you don't have to be. And a friend that was there apologized and was like, oh, she's been drinking and she's had way too much to drink, and and I'm like, yeah, you don't have to be. It's not, and I've had another person say to me, well, Urban Grind is a black coffee shop, and I said, well, what makes it black?
Exactly.
Because you see some people that may be working there as black, or because I'm an owner and I'm black.
It's the
and so it's challenging. I've had another friend of mine who actually frequents Urban Grind, was going to do, to use the point, have a business meeting there. And interestingly enough, and she's African American, she's black. Interestingly enough, the lady who she was meeting with said to her, doesn't a black lady own that? And she said, yeah. She said, oh no, I can't meet there. Let's go to, I can meet you down the street. And she said, oh, well, we can't do business.
Exactly.
But because you got a lot of nerve. She's African American, and you think just because you're giving her your money, she's gonna do whatever you want her. And so that's the blatant, that I've never experienced before. And then even on the flip side of that, with people, some of our people even, taking advantage, or wanting things for nothing, or feel like they can come in there and take up the whole space and not patronize. So it's you get it from so many directions. And like I said, even with employees, I've had a young lady, I won't call out the school, but went to a very prominent university here in Atlanta, that I know she got very good training, and is taught to be a lady and professional, and showed up to work in house slippers. Not the house slippers that people are wearing, like house shoes.
Oh, Lord.
And I sat and I asked her, what makes you think
that was okay?
It was okay.
Exactly.
And then I said, and tell me where else you could go to work and wear house slippers. And she said, nowhere. Well, why is it okay for you to do that here?
Exactly. Exactly.
And so all that to say, I think one of the things that's been challenged is you get it from so many different directions. You might get it from people that might be a little discriminative and don't want to come in. People walk by, they see too many of our faces, and they keep walking, or they leave because they're not comfortable, and then you get it from our folks that's, oh, I'm above that. There's too many of us. I want to go somewhere else. Exactly. You get it from, so you're getting it from so many directions. And so I think for me, that's probably has been, and then, like I said, from an employee perspective, some of them, I can do whatever up in here, Well, you wouldn't do that somewhere else. You have a different standard when you work for someone else than you do for me.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
it's interesting to me because every time I've been there, it's been such a diverse group of people. And I've seen people of all types walking in and out of the doors that I never thought of it as a black spot.
And good. And I hope you don't. And I don't want people to think that. But unfortunately, there have been some people that have identified with it in that way.
Wow.
And those are the things where you start feeling beat up and you start feeling the challenges.
Right.
And I think that's the hardest part.
It puts you in a position sometimes where you want to give up, but the thing is, what your direction is. And so when you know what your direction is, you keep walking. Because if you don't, you're letting them kill your dream, kill what God has actually put here for you to do. And with being a black entrepreneur, it's real hard because, as you say, it does come from all different directions, and then you have people that say they're going to do something, and then when it comes time to do it, you left with it, and people don't realize that, that's your money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. And like you, I got a full-time job too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't afford to not, I tell people all the time, why you still work? Because I need insurance.
Right. Exactly.
But not only that full-time job is helping me be able to do the things that I can do for different people.
That's
what I'm saying? And then when I do something for you, I want you to take that and not just squander it. You know what I'm saying? If it was somebody of another color did that same thing for you, you would make sure that you was the best at whatever.
That's right.
When we have comedy shows, you have a lot of times people don't show up because it's just black people. No, I don't want it to be just a black comedy show. I want my comedians to be able to talk to anybody, to make anybody laugh, regardless of what color you are. The same thing with my actors. You know, you should be able to do anything. I don't want anybody to ever think that it's a black business, that we only patronize black people, that we only do stuff for black people. Now, granted, I am a black person, as in I'm gonna go find you if I need a venue. I go, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do that first, because I want to make sure that we making money too. You know what I'm saying? But don't think that if I can't find a resource in our community, because I'm gonna go to our community first. If I can't find a resource in my community, I'm gonna go to another community. I'm gonna patronize them as well. But I want them to patronize me too. You know, if I have something, you know, don't just say, that's one of those black comedy shows. I'm not, you know, I'm like, it's a comedy show. Get in here and laugh. You know, we have all kind of people on the you know, that come out and actually entertain. Not just black comedians. We have white comedians. We have all kind of stuff. So that's part of the problem with being the entrepreneur, because it's like sometimes you just look at it and you're like, just money going down the drain. But it's, you know, I want everybody to understand that when you doing this, you're putting your heart, your soul, your funds, everything is into it. So the same way we're putting into you, you know, with the community, because when you have these shows and stuff like that, you're helping the community out. You're bringing people together. You're letting people see each other, meet each other, have a good time. So, you know, hey, patronize us sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that totally.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I am starting the show a little bit early today, but before we go, I do want to ask you guys this, because both of you, you know, with Urban Grind, you're a big supporter of the arts. You have all types of events there, and you're managing artists. How important do you think it is that we support those that are doing positive things in art and music and poetry? I'll start with you.
Oh my God, those are the people that you need to support, and not only that, don't just go out and support, you know, the Tyler Perrys and, you know, the people like that, you know, because they've already made it. But guess what? The people that I represent, some of the people I represent, aren't at that level yet, or have never been at that level. And so those people need to be supported too. They're just as funny. You know, they can act just as well. They can do everything that those people that you see on TV every day can do. So it's real important to go out. That's why I do what I do, because it's like they need somebody that's in their corner, that's behind them, that's going to help them get to where Tyler Perry and all these other people are.
Yeah. You know, I'll say there's so much great talent in Atlanta, and that's one of the things that I discovered in being at Urban Grind. It's so much great talent. And to your point, you know, you're missing out if you're not coming out, you're not supporting, and you're not being a part of that. And so I think it's really a disservice to yourself as well, right? But support them and encourage them in their craft if it's something that you enjoy, you want to continue to see arts grow. The other piece of that, and I'm going to actually flip it to the artist and say, if you want to be an artist, then you need to be out there too, honing your craft, showcasing your work, getting better, and leveraging facilities like my place or other places that support the arts. Because oftentimes they want to be big time real quick.
Exactly.
You know, and it doesn't work that way, right? And it doesn't work that way. And so they have to also appreciate the art and appreciate the grind and appreciate what it takes. I have a young man, and I'm just so amazingly proud of him. He used to come to we do open mic music on Wednesdays. We did it for a while, and we stopped doing it because, you know, we started just getting complaints from the neighbors, and it was too loud. And then you start getting people calling, and do you have license to do that? So we stopped doing it. We revamped it, and it's for original music, so we don't have to worry about, you know, licensing and some of those things. It's original music only, which is really what we want to support anyway, right? There's so many people that are saying, I have a voice, and I want to share my voice. So that's what we support, is original music on Wednesdays. So, but when we first started, like I was mentioning before, this young man, he used to come all the time and perform. His mother would bring him because he was, you know, in grade school. Mother would bring him faithfully every week. She set up a video camera. They record him. He really wanted to be a performer. It doesn't matter if it was the room full of people or if it was 3 people in there. Right. She set up the video camera. He performed. He honed his craft. And this kid is really, really good, right? And then just through the years, and they relocated to California. She moved her family there to help him pursue his passion and his dream. She's an amazing mother, I think. And then, you know, I keep up with her. every now and again she'd send me a text and say, oh, he's doing a commercial. Here's a clip for the commercial he's doing. Or, you know, kind of keep me updated on what was going on. And it was funny because he said to me before they moved, and he was a young kid, right? Young guy. And he said, when I make it, I'm going to give Urban Grind a shout out. And I'm like, I appreciate that. Thank you. Don't forget that, right? When you walking the red carpet, you don't forget that. And I appreciate that. And if you get a big check, send a donation. No, I'm just kidding. Keep it going. We can use some more equipment. Our PA system is not. No, I'm just kidding. But at any rate, and so more recently, last month, she called me and said he's in his first film, and they're showing it in Atlanta, right? The movie's going to be shown in Atlanta, and we're going to be there, and you should come. We want you to come. Yeah. And I'm like, great. And I'm thinking, okay, it's an independent film, you know, it's going to be at one of the smaller houses. Where is it? And what's the film? And she said, no, it's going to be at Atlantic Station. He's in it. Oh, wow. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, great. That is awesome. This is his first film. He's in a major Stephen King production, you know, and I'm thinking he's going to be an extra, right? You know, because so what role is he playing? You know, the little black boy that was in, have you guys seen
I haven't seen it.
Well, he's one of the main characters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I was so proud.
Wow,
you know what I mean?
awesome.
So proud of this kid. Just to persevere. And a long story to say to your point, if you are, you know, yes, come support artists, encourage them. But then as an artist, you need to support your craft and support other artists and come out as well. Exactly. If we're having something, not maybe just us, go to the places, support other artists, see what they're doing, network with them, jam out, whatever, because you never know how you're building yourself too.
Right. And don't always just go because you're going to be on stage.
And leave.
Yes. And leave.
Right.
Come all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you should be supporting each other.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So just like you're giving them a place to, you know, have to do their art, to hone their craft as this young man did, they all should be coming out to support other artists that's doing it. Not just come when it's their turn to be on stage.
And then when you find, there's been many of times that I get contacted by people that need a DJ, they need a poet, because they know that I meet a lot of artists. Who do you recommend? Well, guess what? I recommend the people that I know, that I've heard, that I'm familiar with, I've done business with at Urban Grind, so I know what they're going to do, what they're going to bring, how they're going to represent themselves and me, and I'm sending their names out.
That's awesome.
You know?
That's awesome. Well, I thank you both so much for sharing. We have to have you guys come back when we can have a longer discussion. And I think, Ned, we are due for a live remote from Urban Grind. We have talked about that multiple times, but I think I would love for us to bring the show into the shop.
That's awesome.
And do a live remote and have a girlfriends maybe conversation of some sort. What do you think about that, Ned? Sound good?
That would be awesome.
We definitely have to talk to you about that. All right,
All right. So my shameless plug.
Go ahead.
Tuesday nights, open mic comedy. Wednesday is music. Thursday's poetry. But we're open 7 days a week. So please come and support.
And the cake is good too.
Yeah. And whatever you enjoy or you like, we are on social media. It's at Urban Grind ATL. So you can follow us there.
I have to say that because every time I go there, my son expects me to bring back cake.
And you do get the cake. You always get one to go.
One time the cake didn't make it to the house. He was like, didn't you go to Urban Grind? I was like, that cake. I ate that cake in the car.
The cake was calling me.
But I thank you so much for being here. I look so forward to having you here. And it's just a blessing to finally be able to have you in this space.
Well, thank you again for the invitation.
Thank you, Candy, for being here and for being a bright light at Instinct Radio and bringing your artists and supporting what we do here. Yes. Again, remind the audience how they can follow you guys and find you online and on social media.
Oh my God, everywhere. Leave It to Candy. I have my own. You can go to Leave It to Candy on Facebook. You can go to I Am. If you put in I Am Candy, that pulls me up. But everything is Leave It to Candy. If you look for Leave It to Candy, and it's KANDIE. Make sure you put my E on there because the candy with an I is the one that's in Escape. That's not me. I know I'm trying to look like a not, but put the E on the end. But
we're at 962 Marietta Street. We're actually close to Northside Drive, and so all of our handles is at Urban Grind ATL. Urban
I love
Grind
it.
ATL.
And if you just move here, you just looking to make some friends. Go hang out at Urban Grind. You gonna meet some folks. You gonna talk.
Hey,
You gonna
that's
talk
true.
to somebody.
Right,
Find
exactly.
somebody to talk to.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Well, to our audience, I leave you with the words that I always leave you with. Remember this: God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. Keep winning. We're out.
God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life.